Network in the world. This is Fox Business.
While politicians in Washington rip Wall Street for excessive pay, take a look at what executives at money-losing Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac are getting. Nearly $13 million in bonuses for what are called, quote, modest performances. And that is not counting a second bonus installment that has yet to be reported. Now, this all just boggles the mind of hedge fund manager George Jarkesy. He turns a profit and is ripped by the White House for what he makes. Fannie and Freddie are costing taxpayers billions, but the White House is fine with these bonuses. A little frustrating, isn't it, George?
Oh, it's very frustrating. If you look at these bonuses, they paid these bonuses for liquidity, for stability, for affordability. I mean, let's talk liquidity. The government has given them $170 billion. How hard is it to be liquid when you're the largest government bailout? Let's look at stability. The market in housing has been continually dropped. You've got foreclosures, which are off the charts. And then let's look at affordability. Interest rates have gone down significantly. Houses have gone. So here we give you these. They pay out with a government-backed organization at this point, in government receivership, really. And they pay out these huge bonuses and for these mediocre milestones.
Well, I'll go even further than you do. I think that the government nationalized these two entities back in 2008 under George Bush. President Obama went even further in putting them in as a part of the government. They are essentially government entities, which means these workers are government bureaucrats, and they're getting a lot more than Ken Feinberg allowed some of the private banks to get.
Yeah, and let's say, what are we talking about? They lost during this period $240 billion. They've lost $240 billion, and yet they're getting bonuses. And if this was Wall Street, if this was finance companies, if this was energy, actually, if this was anything other than green companies, this would be the front page article, every news channel, everybody be talking about what an outrage this is. But because this is, quasi-government, it gets shuffled under, pushed under the rug. And that's the reality here. And
we had MF Global going under. We could just as easily wake up tomorrow morning, or maybe not tomorrow, maybe in a month or a year or 2 years, and see that Fannie and Freddie are totally belly up, couldn't we?
Yeah, you could. And what you're talking about here is during this period that Obama's taken over, 7.3 million more foreclosures. So you're talking about the market has continued to deteriorate. We've continued to pump $240 billion in it. The CEO gets his bonus and then hits the road here. And the reason I use the word, I want to just be clear, Dave, the reason I use receivership is somewhere down the road, maybe in 2014, the shareholders might have some kind of back end, which is why this should operate. And typically, in a Chapter 11 situation, the receivers of that will only allow bonuses where there's a lot of profitability.
Right.
And now you've got $240 billion of losses, and they're still getting bonuses.
Well, I just wonder what is going to happen eventually. We have seen these government entities become more private. That happened to Sallie Mae, for example, but then it went back to being more government involved. So whenever you have a quasi-anything that you can't see clearly exactly what it is, I think we're in for trouble. That's why these things should either be gotten rid of entirely, totally nationalized, call it what it is, a government bank or whatever it is, or totally privatized.
Well, these organizations clearly drove us toward this debacle that we've been in since 2008.
Yeah, no
they
question.
wanted everybody to have a house, everybody to have an affordable house, and they offered to investors a slightly better, or they actually, investors got a little less interest from them than they did other organizations because they were quasi-government. So they got better terms than everybody else did from investors.
And I just want to be clear. I don't care how much a company pays its people. If they think the people are worth that much, it's a private company, you pay them whatever the heck you want. That's up to the stockholders and up to the managers. But in a case when the taxpayers are footing the bill, we should have some kind of input.
Yeah, but Dave, here's a double standard, and this is what's really aggravating. Here is a company that people should be complaining about. You're talking about tax dollars. You're talking about the largest government bailout has gone to these organizations, and yet nobody says anything. And if a CEO of an energy company has a good quarter and does well producing oil and gas, it's on the front page of every newspaper, and he's flogged for it. And that's really what I think is very interesting about this.
Absolutely. George Jarkesy, good to see you again, my friend. Thanks for coming in. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Dave.